Well, hello, gang. This is Alan, and I hope you guys are having a great Wednesday hump day. It is November the 9th, 2022, day after the election. But we're not going to talk about elections. We're going to talk about model railroad. And a few days ago, I was over at Benton, Kansas, and seen the owner where I get my stuff, and I call him Brother Jeff. And while I was over there, I picked up my 5-car N 53 foot. It's a 5 platform spine car set from Atlas, originally BMLA. And so I got it set up, and it is working really, really good. One thing that I will point out, that if you have not got this set, and hopefully you can see this, I might need to, let's see, we might have to put the flash on here. Hopefully you can see this. Let's not drop things, and let me pause this. Okay, guys, continuing. I hope you can see this. When you get this spine car, there's a little cradle or a little base that the spine car the trucks are attached to. And if you can see those pins right there, are these little pins. They hold on to the truck, or they clip onto the truck, and they help keep the spine cars in place when they're setting in the clamshell. And so when you pull these apart, if you can, just take your hand and grasp the truck, and then with one hand and grasp the base and gently pull them apart, like so. Just kind of do that like that. You can now see the base right here, and where it clips on, and so it just keeps those two together. And but other than that, that's all you basically have to do. Moving forward, I went up to the hobby shop, and I had pre-ordered. I want to kick this light back off. I pre-ordered some last year, when they were showing that they were going to be coming out, the Automax cars. I'd been wanting the Automax cars for a little while now. I've seen them about 3 years ago at the show, train show at Cessna Activity Center over in Wichita, Kansas, and they were on a layout. And there was probably about 8 or 10 Automaxes that were running in a unit train. They were just the Automaxes themselves, and I thought they were pretty sharp. And so when I went up there, I happened to see those cars sitting there, and I thought, oh man, they got them in. They got these Automaxes in. So I had to set me a couple out to bring home. Well, Mr. Jeff said, Alan, did you know that we've got a couple setting back for you? And I said, And he said, do you remember that you pre-ordered some of them last year? And I said, oh man, I forgot. And he said, yeah, we got some sitting back here for you. So I got the ones I was wanting. I did exchange for one, and what I got was this is the Automax Arkansas, Oklahoma, and I'll let you guys see the lettering on it. Let's see if you can see if this phone will focus here and show this to you. And I was filling on the car, and although those little sides there are not actual little holes, I don't think they are, they're made to look like that. I was thinking maybe that there were little holes that they pre-drilled into the body, but I don't think it is. I don't believe it is. We can again turn the, but I think that's just painted on. That might be little holes. They look almost like they could be, so they might be. Yeah, I don't know. They look like they're painted on. I think they're painted on. But anyway, the detail on these cars are really, really awesome. And well, let's scroll across here, and you can kind of see the detail there. We'll kick this back off and see the detail on the ends of the car. And we'll move this set here so you guys can see the detail where the doors are at. And I mean, they look like the real thing. And these are pretty sharp. There's a few of them in the Hutchinson yard. If you're close to Hutchinson, you could go over the airport viaduct there. We call it the viaduct. It's the kind of overpass that goes over the railroad tracks, and you can look down and you can see them down there. And like I say, they're pretty sharp. And here's my BNSF 314-021, and I'm going to get some more of these. Here's my again my spine car set. Oh man, I tell you what, these spine cars are pretty cool. Something I want to point out that I had to do on my spine car set, and I'll show you guys. It's on, let's see. This one right here. If you look, no, this one right here. I think. Yeah, here it is. If you look right there, and we'll kick this back on. If you look right there, you can see that those holes have been drilled, or you can see that I've drilled holes into the frame. And the reason I've done that is when the fifth wheel that sets up, that stands up, the standing fifth wheel, so the trailers can sit on them, they look like they would fit right there, but should also fit into here. Well, if you try to set them in there, the length of the fifth wheel, the legs, only goes from here to where I've got these holes drilled. And I'll pause this and show you guys how they set in there. And I had to drill, and I drilled them, and they turned out real good. Okay, I'll try to set one of these in here so I can show you guys. Right here's the hole, and I'm going to go to another video here. Okay, right. There we go. Sometimes it's fun trying to line this up with this camera because it's a little ways from where I need it to be. If you see those holes right there, I'll set the fifth wheel into those holes, or at least I'll try to attempt to set them in here. Okay. Now, if you look at the fifth wheel, and where the fifth wheel sets right there, and where I've drilled those holes, it sets perfect. It's not overstretched. It sits in there like it should. I mean, like you would see it on a real trailer. If you look where the holes are right there, if you try to set that in there and put them in those holes, you're going to overstretch those legs that's going down. So again, that's why I drilled those holes to set that fifth wheel in. Now, I think we'll move down here and look on this one here. I think those holes are actually for the fifth wheel. There's two sets that come in this spine car set, and the three spine car set that lays flat, and I'll show you those. Okay, with my Excel tool, my Excel tweezers, I'm going to gently pick this up. You might see my awesome looking legs down there. Not that I'm trying to show them off, but and it's best to do this while you're holding the car, putting this in here. But the flat wheel, where the fifth wheel lays flat, that to me would be where those holes there is where that fifth wheel would lay flat at. And so, I'm sorry I moved the camera around. I was trying to reposition myself here. But that's how that would work. This here actually, where I drilled the holes in here, works real good for the fifth wheel standing up. So, and it's not too hard to drill those holes. I mean, they're pretty simple to do. I mean, just get you a little tool like this right here, and you can zip those holes in there rather quickly. And I just used a real small little micro bit to drill the holes for that to fit into. And so moving on to my Automax cars, pulling them out of the box, they did really well, except for my Kansas City Southern. I had a little bit of problem with the center bogey wheel here, or bogey truck. It on the bottom of the car, there's a little pivoter. There's like a little plastic pivoter that holds the two cars together. and it allows the car to pivot, and you can also, it holds the truck in place. But on this particular car, where that pivot, where it was supposed to pivot, was a little stiff. I don't know if they just didn't drill the hole in that little plastic piece to hold the two together. If they didn't drill those holes that where it fits over those pins, if they didn't drill them slightly, they didn't drill them enough to, so as that fit over there, they didn't move nice and smooth, even though there is a screw holding that in place. These here worked good on this car, but on this one here, they were having a little bit of a problem. So what I done is I removed the truck, and I put just a little dab of LaBelle's 108 Teflon, which is safe for plastic, on that where that pivots back and forth. And it seemed to really loosen it up. I probably could use some of that grease and put some of that on there for microtrains. But I used just a little bit of that Teflon, and then snug the screws back down, not overly tight, just snug them back down. And now that, seemed to help that, because it was derailing when I would shove the car into my number 4 here. It would derail there, and then it was derailing down there on my super elevated, right down there. It was as it was coming around that curve, it was popping off the curve. Another thing, if you have Kato Unitrack and that super elevated, you're using them, you might want to loosen up the, see if I can get my pointer here. You might want to loosen up your truck here on this end and this end. This truck here was already, the bogey truck was already, fairly loose, which the car doesn't wobble that much. It does a little bit, but not that much. Actually, it does real well going down the track. You hit your going over your frogs, and it bounces just a little bit. But if you loosen up this truck on this end and down there, as it's going around that super elevated, and it's leaving the elevated part of the curve and coming into the flat, it has a tendency to lift that wheel up just a little bit, like it's, trying to take off, for flight, and then it slowly comes back down. Well, I noticed if you take this and unloosen those screws just a little bit and give that some pivot, it can give that truck just enough pivot to negotiate that and keep the wheel to the rail. And so it lifts. Sometimes it does still lift, but it's better than what it was. This in here kind of does the same a little bit, but it don't derail. This one here was derailing. But like I say, they all pull pretty good. They're not really that heavy. I mean, they don't feel that heavy when I was lifting them up, so I don't know how much weight they got to them. And I don't have a scale that I can weigh the car, so that's one thing I wished I had. Moving on to a couple other new cars that I got. One of them was my Hutchinson Northern 61002, which this one here is patched. It was a Hutchinson Northern. I believe it shows the date. It was new 11/77. So Hutchinson Northern was in the city of Hutchinson, here where I live. They operated probably before that. I'll have to look it up and see if I can get a date on here. But but it, like I say, this car and the Hutchinson Northern operated here in Hutch. It was like a short line, and I think they mainly done uh, uh, loads for like Cargill salt and Kerry salt and ones like that, and they pulled, they pulled them in there in where they filled either the hoppers, or if they put uh, bags of salt. That's, they loaded them in these cars and then they went wherever they needed to go. Uh, our one salt facility, which is uh, one of them, like I say, is Cargill and one of them is Kerry. The one that's over there by and I believe that's Cargill. That's over by the uh, Stratica, which is our underground salt museum. Uh, that's where the road salt's at, and we produce enough road salt here in Hutch, or they do out there. They produce enough road salt that several other states come here and buy our road salt to put on their roads. And so that's kind of a neat fun fact. And our the underground salt museum, you guys, any of you guys out there ever can visit the city of Hutchinson, two places that you are to go see is the Cosmosphere, which used to be called the Kansas Cosmosphere, which is, part of this Smithsonian and part of Cape Kennedy, that's down in Florida, uh, where the shuttles and that took off. Go see the Cosmosphere and the Underground Salt Museum. The Underground Salt Museum is about, I think it's 680, 680, something like that, feet down below, and there's a big elevator that can take people down to see the Underground Salt Museum. A lot of the Hollywood films and that are stored down there because the temperature down in the salt mines is constant year round. I mean, it does never change, and so it's pretty neat stuff that they have down there. But this is one of the cars, and there's another car that is more of a brighter green, but I kind of like this olive drab color here, and so that's why I got this here. This is my new caboose. This is my new Illinois Terminal 955, the road and personalized service caboose. I thought it was pretty sharp, so we had to have it. I wanted to get me a Norfolk Southern to go with my 3329, but didn't have any up there, so I have to kind of do some searching for an Norfolk Southern. And we got this. We got this micro chains. I've been wanting this kit for a long time, probably for the last 4 years, and just every time I went up, I had something other model or something that I wanted to get, and I either didn't pick it up or there for a while they didn't have them in stock, but I asked Jeff. I said, "You got one of those?" And he said, "Let's go see." And so he went and checked, and for $48, I brought one home, and it's got everything. It's got your coupler height gauge. It's got, looking on the back, it's got 1015, 1023, and 1128 coupler. Conversions, one per each. It does have a coupler instruction sheet, an uncoupler, coupler jig, which is this right here. This little gray thing right there. And this is the tool that holds, like right here. Let's see if I can do this and show this to you guys. Let's see if I can show this. I think I got her here. Let's see. This holds when you're trying to build your coupler, and you don't want your coupler falling apart. You know, the bottom part of it, the bottom part of it, and the top part of it, and if you got the spring in there, you don't want it to fall apart. So having that little tool right there is a handy little tool to have. Now mine, when I got it, that's the only thing was I kind of disappointed on, was there was such a rough nature on this little tool, and pieces of aluminum falling off of it, that I went and done some filing, and filed it around, smoothed it up, and cleaned it off, and made it to where if you hold it, you don't get a bunch of aluminum shavings in your hand. And so that's how that there works. And continuing on this little tool, this is an awesome little tool. I've seen in a couple videos, YouTube videos, how it works out, and it's pretty neat. But there were some metal shavings coming off of it, so little metal pieces coming off of it, so I decided to take let's put it on here so you can see it. Had smoothed the edges around and got rid of that rough, those rough burrs and sharp edges on it, and just kind of made it a little bit more useful. But I've seen this in a couple of videos, and they were really good videos. And let's see if I can demonstrate how this sits on here. So it goes on. Let's see, I think I got it here. Basically what the tool does is it holds your coupler, your upper part and your bottom part of your coupler. And if you more than likely the trip pin is already in the coupler when you get it, but sometimes you have to put the trip pin in there. If it's not in there, it's pretty simple to put it in. And if you take like a little piece of wood, like a little flat piece of board, you can drill a little hole to where you can set the trip pins in there. And then this jig, it's got a place where you can put a couple screws in there to hold the jig in place, to where you can, it'll stay put, and you can set your coupler up. And we'll pull this back here like so. Oops. Let me take this off. And there we go. And you can see how the coupler sits into the jig. Like I say, you set it in there like this, and by using that tool with that little pin there, you can set the coupler and build your coupler. Of course, this one here is already put together, but you can set your coupler in there just like that, and you can build your coupler with this tool and this jig. And these are drill bits to drill in a if you're wanting to set a body mounted coupler in there. You can drill your holes, and then your tap and die here can when you go to run your tap and die in there, you can set your threads in the car, and I looks like it's to where you can do it both metal and plastic. Plastic be easy, but I think it's pretty well designed where you can even do it in in a metal in a metal car if you have the bottom part is metal, but you can see the tap and die right there. So you can put those screws in there to hold your body mounted couplers on. The next part of the kit is uh, your coupler height gauge, and then here's your couplers that you can build up there in those little these little vials or little deals here, and then here's your piece of track with a magnet on it, and I believe that's and the grease them, and we got a little tube of Katie Greasem, and they say this stuff is excellent. And while I was up there, I picked me up one of these mascot pin vise drill sets, and it came with a set of small drills and your different collets to hold them. And right there, this is one size right there. And then there's the probably one for really small bits. And no, this one here's probably the one for smaller bits. Yeah, there's probably yeah. So these are pretty nice. This was about $22, and so it was a pretty good find. And you just hold this like that, spin it, and like doing that on that spine car, pretty well drill into that frame. And I didn't go very far, just enough to let those pins sit down in there. So that worked out pretty good. But guys, I thought I'd share this with you and tell you about those Automaxes. I'm pretty sure that they're available like at Midwest Model Railroad, out at Western Depot, or Train World, Uncle Ben's, several of your hobby shops, model train stuff, ones that you have online. They should be, if they're not out there, I'm sure they'll be out there in the next day or so. And another thing that I purchased, but I'm going to take back, is I got this Athearn EMD FP45. The engine is really sharp looking. I mean, the SPSF. Of course, it does say on here that it's fantasy, but it's really super cool, the SPSF. I wanted to get the Athearn caboose that has that on there, but I seen that and I thought, man, I'd like to have that. I really like to have it, but was a little disappointed with the way it runs. Now, I took my NMRA gauge and checked the spread on the axles, and they're perfect. And the weight of the engine is something else. It's really incredible. But it acted like it was binding up somewhere. And I put a little bit of the Bell's 108 on the gears, thinking maybe they were just a little, because the engine, as it was going down it was kind of a jitter, it wasn't smooth. It wasn't smooth like a Kato. Even my scale trains, real smooth. This thing here it just wasn't smooth. And so, like I say, I put some LaBelle's 108 on it. I thought maybe that would improve it. and it didn't seem to improve it at all. And so we're going to take it back, and we're going to look at getting a scale trains. Matter of fact, I got one set back. It's a scale trains Kansas City Southern. Wanted a Kansas City Southern, and probably had that chance to get one. So, but guys, I'm gonna end this video, and if you got any comments on the Automaxes or any of the other stuff that I pointed out, please give me a shout. If need to know more, I'll try to help. Tell you more. I mean, basically, what I had to do is what I on that on that Automax helped improve it. Going through the turnout, it was a little stiff. Sometimes they're probably like that, but give me a thumbs up, please, and ring the bell, and leave that comment and tell me what you think. And we appreciate you watching. So, y'all have a great hump day, and take care and be safe out there. Bye for now. This is Alan.